Get the kills! Oh!
If there ever was a time, it was right there from Revolt!
He's got so much work on his hands. Gets the first one, gets the second one, gets the third one. 2 versus 1!
Old school competitive games. The games that built the esports foundation while surviving on large amounts of energy drinks and pure unfiltered autism. We are talking about an era when competitive FPS meant dragging your own PC with a 40-pound CRT monitor to a venue that was in a local high school gym, connecting via LAN cables that looked like they were stolen from a hospital, and playing for prize pools that couldn't even cover your gas money home, let alone your plane ticket. No battle passes, no skins, no corporate sponsors throwing millions around, no franchises, no salaries, no streamer drama, just pure, concentrated, sweaty skill expression.
Oh my god! What is this, man?
And the kind of community toxicity where trash talking was not only allowed, but encouraged.
Hey, look at my bank account! Look at my bank account!
These games were broken, unbalanced, absolutely fucking magical, and most of you don't even know they existed. They created legends out of basement dwellers who paved the way for what we call today modern esports, while turning LAN parties into religious experiences. So here are 7 levels of old school competitive FPS games. For your own sake, I hope you are sitting down, because you're about to get hit by some fucking nostalgia. Level 1. Wolfenstein Enemy Territory.
We're going to keep spending those. He's going to get a triple headshot frag on the Reeves. More headshots coming in on the Cresty, and that's why we respect Mouse, because Mouse takes full spawns when I say that. 20-second full spawn for Mouse, and I don't think the shoutcast.
The lowest level doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad game. No, this is a game where good intentions met mediocre execution, and unfortunately that was enough to matter. It was cursed with the classic 2000s problem, being ahead of its time but behind in literally everything else. Wolfenstein Enemy Territory came out in 2003 as a free standalone game, which should tell you everything about the developer's confidence in making money off of this thing. But here's the kicker, it was actually so brilliant in ways that most people completely missed. It was basically what Overwatch would eventually steal and monetize, minus the World War II theme, and create whatever the fuck Tracer is supposed to be. The competitive scene was alive and pretty active during those times. Prize money? What prize money? These tournaments were won for pure bragging rights and maybe a graphics card if you were lucky. But the loyalty was insane. Enemy Territory communities were tighter than the modern Discord servers, with players who knew each other's playstyles better than their own families. The competitive scene was small but absolutely devoted. ESL tournaments, actual decent LANs like Quake, where the prize pool was pretty high for those times. The competitive scene was further developed with the introduction of ET Legacy, which is an updated version of the original that kept all the core elements. The best thing is that it's still active in recent years. In 2023, the game celebrated its 20-year anniversary with an actual LAN event. It's safe to say that on this level 1, Wolfenstein Enemy Territory represents all the early 2000s competitive FPS games that paved the way for grassroots esports. Level 2, Unreal Tournament.
We've got 1 minute and 36 seconds left on the clock. It's a 7-2 game. Oh my gosh, Lauk from the Netherlands blowing himself up, losing a point, making it 7-2.
This was one of those that said, fuck it, let's see who can actually aim, when the rest of the industry was still figuring out what online gaming even meant. Unreal Tournament dropped in 1999, and it dropped with some of the most unique mechanics at that time. The mobility was insane, translocator teleports, wall dodging, weapon combos that required frame-perfect timing. The shock rifle combo alone separated players into different species. Humans who could hit the primary fire, and actual demigods who could consistently land the secondary shock core for instant kills. Unreal Tournament was a pure mechanical skill expression. No hiding behind teammates, no tactical utility to bail you out, just you, your aim, and movement mechanics that would make modern movement players cry. The skill ceiling was so high that most players never even saw it, let alone reached it. The CPL, which is the Cyber Athlete Professional League. Yeah, back then we had some weird ass names for leagues and tournaments, and competitive players were called Cyber Athletes. Alongside VCG hosted both Unreal Tournament and Quake tournaments throughout the early 2000s, and these events were legitimately hype. Prize pools in the tens of thousands might not sound impressive now, but in an era when most gamers were lucky to afford a decent graphics card, it was life-changing money. What made these games really something else is that they invented competitive FPS culture from literally nothing. LAN centers, tournament formats, player personalities, community management, everything that modern esports takes for granted was created by people playing Unreal Tournament and Quake. The mechanics these games created are still used today. Rocket jumping, prediction aiming, map control through resource management, concepts that every modern FPS borrows without understanding where they came from. You simply just had to be there at that time for a full experience. Level 3. Call of Duty 4 Pro Mode.
Now it's all on Revolt. This is his moment. This is Revolt's moment to save Reason. If there ever was a time, it was right there from Revolt! Can you believe it?
Before Call of Duty became a yearly cash grab designed for children with their parents' credit cards and whatever the fuck this is, it was actually a respectable competitive shooter. I know that sounds like some boomer nostalgia, but just hear me out. COD 4 Pro Mode was legitimately a different beast from the modern franchise. In 2007, the gaming world got blessed with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare, and everything changed. The base game was already different and new, modern setting and weapons from its previous World War II theme, kill streaks, attachments, camos. It offered a very good casual multiplayer experience. But the community said fuck that and created Pro Mode, a mod that stripped out every casual friendly mechanic and left pure skill expression. I'm gonna give you two words, plant-based and punkbuster. If you know what that is, congratulations, you were part of one of the greatest era in Call of Duty history. Clan-based was the ultimate competitive platform that hosted leagues and tournaments for the majority of FPS games from that time, while punkbuster was the anti-cheat used for those same games. Shit anti-cheat, but it did block the most obvious cheaters. Pro Mode COD 4 was beautiful in its simplicity. No perks, no kill streaks, no random bullshit, just positioning, aim, and tactical awareness. It was what Call of Duty could have been if Activision hadn't discovered that making easier games sells more copies. The competitive scene exploded across Europe, with tournaments that pulled respectable numbers and created genuinely exciting matches. The prize pools were modest, a maximum of 35,000 at a major LAN events, but this was before esports money got stupid. LAN prestige mattered more than paychecks. Winning a major Pro Mode tournament meant something in the community, even if it didn't pay your rent. And the most amazing part is that the Pro Mode community is still very active both online and offline, pulling a respectable 25 to 30 teams for a local European LANs. But for these players it isn't about making money, it's about the love for the game and competition, which I hugely respect. A feeling that modern Call of Duty will never be able to bring back because it sold its soul. Level 4. Team Fortress 2.
Wait, Kobe's behind. Kobe is on the medic. Oh, nice rockets from Kobe, but he's gonna jump away. He might gets the pack. 50. Oh, nice shot. And get the kills. Oh! Kobe!
This is the weirdest entry on the list because it shouldn't have worked as a competitive game, but somehow became one of the deepest and most skill-intensive FPS experiences ever created. Released in 2007, Team Fortress 2 was supposed to be Valve's casual, cartoony answer to serious military shooters. Instead, it accidentally created a competitive ecosystem so complex that people are still discovering new strategies in 2025. The competitive meta format was 6v6, 2 scouts, 2 soldiers, 1 demo man and 1 medic. That's it. No heavy, no engineer, no spy. just pure speed and aggression centered around the most important mechanic, the medic's Uber charge. Everything revolved around building Uber, using Uber and surviving the enemy team's Uber. The skill ceiling was absolutely fucking mental. It's exactly like one of you commented on my previous video that you have to be genuinely insane to compete in Team Fortress 2. Prize pools were embarrassingly small, 10 to 20k at absolute best, but nobody gave a shit. This wasn't about money, it was about proving you could master one of the most mechanically demanding games ever created. The community kept the scene alive through pure love of the competition long after Valve stopped caring about the competitive side. The competitive leagues were run entirely by the community. ETF 2L in Europe, EACA Invite in North America, and the legendary Insomnia LANs in the UK that became the holy grail for TF2 players. These weren't corporate sponsored events, they were passion projects funded by people who understood that they were preserving something special. Players like Bunny became legends not through marketing deals or streaming contracts, but through pure competitive dominance spanning over a decade. The guy is still competing in recent years, which should tell you everything. The game is still alive, still competitive, and still producing moments of brilliance. But you know what is the craziest part? Is that over 150,000 of you watched my previous 7 levels video and only 0.5% of you subscribed. That's literally 500 people. So if you enjoyed this video so far, help a brother out and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Level 5, Halo. This is where console competitive gaming went from basement hobby to actual cultural phenomenon, and anyone who tries to downplay that achievement probably never witnessed the absolute electricity of an MLG event in its prime. This wasn't just good, it was legitimately great competitive gaming, period. Halo Combat Evolved had grassroots LANs, sure, but Halo 2 in 2004 was when shit got real. The MLG circuit exploded into something resembling actual professional sport, with teams like Final Boss, Carbon and Instinct becoming household names in the competitive gaming circles. The legendary players from this era read like a Hall of Fame. Ogre 2, Volshy, Strongside, Snipedown, these names carried weight not just in Halo, but across all competitive gaming. Ogre 2 specifically was probably the most dominant individual competitor in any esports during his prime. MLG Vegas 2007 finals are still talked about today, and for a good reason. The crowds were absolutely insane, the matches were peak competitive gaming, and the production value made other esports look amateur by comparison. Prize pools reached 6 figures annually for top teams, which was absolutely mental money for the mid-2000s gaming scene. Halo just worked as a competitive game because it wasn't a console aim assist carrying players. The mechanics were deeper than most people realized. Sure, the aiming was different from PC games, but movement, positioning and team coordination were just as demanding as any other top-tier competitive shooter. The skill gap between casual and professional Halo was enormous, and watching the best players operate was genuinely inspiring. Yeah, you're 100% right that the scene isn't what it used to be, and modern Halo struggles to recapture that magic. But we shouldn't dismiss Halo's competitive legacy. The impact was real, the skill was legitimate, and the entertainment value was literally undeniable. Level 6, Quake.
That foreshadowing to what we're going to see here?
Well, yes it is. CZM following up with a rail on Cooler right there. And now it's a question of whether Cooler can just stop the onslaught. Because already CZM, double rocket in the face. Chew on that.
If you want to understand what peak individual skill looks like in competitive gaming, watch professional Quake. Not modern games with their team coordination and strategic depth. Just pure mechanical mastery that separates humans from demigods. Quake World evolved into Quake 3 Arena, evolved into Quake Live, but the core competitive format remained beautifully simple. 1v1 duels where only one player could survive. No teammates to carry you, no random elements to blame losses on, just you, your opponent, and mechanics so demanding that most people couldn't even comprehend what they were watching. The skills required were absolutely mental. Strafe jumping, rocket jumping, aim prediction because hitscan weapons were for casual players, and map control through armor and mega health timing. the legendary players achieved actual celebrity status. Jonathan Fatality Vandal became esports' first superstar, not through personality or content creation, but through pure competitive dominance. The guy won over $450,000 in prize money when that was actually life-changing money, secured sponsor deals with hardware companies, and built a personal brand that lasted decades. But Fatality wasn't alone at the top. Players like Rafa, Cooler, Cypher, and Toxic created rivalries that defined entire eras of competitive gaming. QuakeCon became an annual tournament where the best players in the world gathered to prove who could be the absolute best. Modern gamers who think they understand competitive skill need to watch professional Quake WODs and realize they've been playing in the kiddie pool. The mechanical requirements, the game knowledge, the split-second decision making had to be on a borderline insane level. Level 7. Counter-Strike 1.6.
He actually takes out 2. It's now all on Zonic. And he's got so much work on his hands. Gets the first one, gets the second one, gets the third one. 2 versus 1. Oh, amazing from Zonic. That's 4 from Zonic. 1 more remaining. And he's going to peek out and he is going to win it. What an absolutely amazing round from Zonic.
We've arrived at the final boss, the game that didn't just define competitive FPS, but created the entire esports template that every other game still tries to copy. I know I put Counter-Strike at level 7 in my previous video and I was really trying hard to justify Quake or maybe even Halo being level 7, but it's fucking CS, can you really blame me? CS 1.6 released in 1999 as a mod and accidentally solved competitive gaming. The round-based format was something different and new at that time. The economy system didn't make sense at first, but it became the most unique mechanic in gaming overall. The competitive peak happened in the mid-2000s, and the numbers were absolutely staggering for the time. CPL, ESWC, VCG, DreamHack, these were the top international events that drew hundreds of thousands of viewers and offered prize pools that would make you quit your 9 to 5 to play at the highest level. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in an era where most other competitive FPS games on this list couldn't go past 20 to 30,000 USD in prize pools. The legendary teams can only be described as dynasties. NIP, SK Gaming, Fnatic, MTW, Virtus Pro, Mouse, Na'Vi. Like, how do you even beat this legacy? The players achieved actual legendary status. Heaton, Karn, Neo, Forest, Getright, Zonic. I don't even know how to put this into words. You know them all, you know exactly how good they were, and I don't think we are ever going to see this type of legacy in any modern esports game. Say whatever you want to say, but CS 1.6 created the esports blueprint that every game still follows. Regional leagues feeding into international majors, professional contracts, team houses, coaching staff, tactical analysis, player transfers, and all the infrastructure that makes modern esports possible. Every competitive game since has borrowed from CS template because it simply worked better than anything else. 25 years later, Counter-Strike is still gold standard for competitive FPS. And I'm saying this as someone who doesn't even play Counter-Strike. But you know what I do? I watch all the major events and I follow the Counter-Strike scene. Because guess what? You don't need to play CS or be a CS fanboy to enjoy watching it. I hope the nostalgia wasn't too hard on you. Feel free to argue about these rankings in the comments. Are there any old school competitive games I might have missed? Feel free to mention them in the comments. Just remember this, every modern esport game you love exists because someone, somewhere, decided that getting good at these broken, beautiful games was worth dedicating their life to. Until next time, peace out.